Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Midwest Medium Podcast, Two Mediums in a Pod limited series. My name is June Hessler, and with me is
Ciara Titus. Yay!
Hi, Ciara. Thanks for being with me today.
Thank you for having me be with you.
Yes, of course. One thing I want to mention that I never mention because I forget, and I forget the importance of it, is if you're listening to this podcast, whatever platform you're on, or even if you're watching on YouTube, please comment, share the podcast, rate and review. I've learned that when people do that, it helps the algorithms apparently, and it helps more people become, um, what's the word? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. They become aware of the podcast because I guess the likes and the comments mean something to the algorithms. It means something to us, of course, but it helps with the algorithm. So if you could do that, we would greatly appreciate it. I do want to mention quickly some events that I have coming up. This Thursday, February 19th, I have a rosary prayer group over Zoom starting at 8 p.m. Central Time. You don't have to sign up, you can just show up. The Zoom link is on my website. That's all you need. If you've never done the rosary before, that's okay. I have a nice deck that will help walk us through it. So, it's been a really great experience. I enjoy doing it. And so I hope you'll join us. And Monday, March 23rd, I'm offering Messages from the Other Side, a virtual group reading I'm giving over Zoom. So the good news about that is no matter where you are, you can participate. That is at 8 o'clock Central Time, 8 p.m. Central Time, March 23rd. You can get details on my website, junehessler.com. And Saturday, March 28th, I will be at the Holistic Healing and Wellness Fair in Maple Grove, Minnesota, and that is from 10 to 5. So details are on my website. Ciara, what do you have coming up?
So this upcoming Wednesday, February 18th, I'll have my monthly practice circle, and that's where we get online and we practice readings on each other. So I do open you up with a meditation, I close you down with a meditation, and you just get to meet a group of people who are also on a spiritual path trying to better their mediumship and psychic abilities. I will be at the Heart Space Holistic Fair at the end of this month on Saturday 28th. Um, and then I have a beginner mediumship development workshop that's online, and that will be on Saturday, March 7th.
Busy girl.
Yeah, busy.
Yeah. Okay. Today we're talking about the Ascended Masters. Before we get into that, I do want to mention quickly an ice update here in Minnesota, which I feel is appropriate to mention since we've been talking about what's been happening in our latest episodes. It was recently announced that ice is pulling out of Minnesota. I'm not totally sure what news is being portrayed nationally. I just know what's being considered news here in Minnesota and how we're feeling. I know that we are cautiously optimistic that this is truly the case and what's going to happen. I know that Minnesota, generally speaking, obviously I don't speak for everyone, but the general consensus in Minnesota is that we don't trust DHS, rightfully so. And so it's great news. We hope it's true. We are cautiously optimistic. And I am offended that Holman used the word successful, that it was a successful mission because it wasn't. Two people were murdered. One person was injured being shot in the leg, which was just discovered that the DHS agents had lied about that, allegedly. So that's not a surprise. And not to mention the families that have been in hiding, the children that have not been attending school in person. Um, Emotional anguish, mental anguish, trauma. This has taken a toll on our state, especially in the Twin Cities. And so to use the word success, that it was a successful mission, however he said it, I'm paraphrasing. Um, no, it wasn't. So
Uh,
I think it's
yeah, I have to agree. It wasn't successful at all. Like the amount of money that went into and the goals that they had, it's totally incongruent to, I think, American like philosophy on life. In the sense that we didn't
Yeah.
honor people's rights, we didn't honor people's freedom. There wasn't due process. There was murder. All these things that happened in Minnesota to call it successful is, I mean, we already know there's so much lies and misinformation out there.
Yeah. So we want him gone. It so I wanted to at least touch on it since we've been talking about it.
Yeah, I'm glad that they have decided whether or not they do it. I'm glad that they have at least decided that they're gonna get out.
I'm actually having lunch with my grandmother later today. She's in her 80s and she protested at Whipple a couple of weeks ago. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what she has to share today during our lunch.
Oh, that's so
So,
cute.
it is, and how grateful I feel so grateful that she and people like her were willing to go. I mean, to me, that's ground zero of everything that happened here. And my grandma went and she did it. So I'm looking forward to hearing her story today. So maybe next episode I'll be allowed to share. I don't know yet.
Yeah, I hope so. I'd love to hear her
Yeah.
perspective on it. I'm assuming she's lived in Minnesota most of her life.
Yes.
Yeah, to just get her perspective on it and how she feels about it. And, yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, shall we move on to the Ascended Masters?
Yes.
Okay. So when we talk about the Ascended Masters, Ciara and I, we're talking about the top four Ascended Masters, which are Jesus Christ, Blessed Mother Mary, Goddess of Mercy and Compassion, Kuan Yin, and Lord Buddha. Um, Ciara, do you mind explaining more about the top four?
Yeah, why don't we start kind of what at the beginning of they're explaining what ascended master means. So, an ascended master means that a human being, or like Jesus, like Buddha, Mother Mary, and Kuan Yin have all had lives here on Earth, one or two, and then they have reached a level of purity and wisdom so that they no longer need to incarnate. And so they are now on the other side helping humanity to evolve to the level that they have evolved. Ascended means that they have reached the highest level of ascension and they still continue, right? Like we always talk about spiritual growth being a continuous journey, continuous journey. Um, so yeah, they've reached the highest level. I mean, Jesus is actually at the top because he's the closest to God, and then they are all under him. So there is a hierarchy that you can grow into, and do you know what I mean? Like each level, you can reach a higher level of ascension, but they've reached the highest.
Right. And they have made a commitment to God to help humanity in however we need. An example is praying the rosary to Mother Mary. She will intercede as much as she's allowed by God. Kuan Yin, Goddess of Mercy and Compassion, she will intercede. Buddha too, and obviously Jesus. They will do everything that they can, that they're allowed to do to help humanity. And I think that really speaks to their level of ascension and the love that they have for God's children.
Yes, it's amazing, and we're so blessed to have them continually want to help us because, oh my goodness, we need the help.
Yeah, more than we probably realize.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's so much of a sacrifice on their part. The energy, the work that they do for us, a lot of it is unseen.
Yeah, it really is. I kind of the analogy I'll use on that is like guardian angels. I tell my clients all the time that they protect us more than we realize. And Sometimes we're able to witness the protection that our angels give us. Sometimes, more often than not, we don't. But it doesn't mean that they're not protecting us. They are. And so, excuse me, the same is true with the ascended masters. There's so much that they do for us that we don't realize that we're not allowed to witness, but it's happening continuously.
Yeah, I think we take it for granted for sure because we can't visually see what they're doing, but we know. And in my experiences, as well as yours, we have seen some of the work, right? We've been blessed with the insight. But yeah, so much of it goes unnoticed. And unfortunately, we're not grateful for it. So that's why I think so much of the journey that we've been on is to constantly acknowledge their existence, constantly acknowledge the work that they do for us.
Absolutely. Another reason why we talk about the top four ascended masters is we are in their classroom through our spiritual teacher, Oracle Marine, who works with them very closely. They teach us through her. And because we are devoted students of Oracle Marine and devoted students of the Ascended Masters, we are allowed some of these experiences firsthand. We are allowed some of their visitations and messages firsthand. So I think it's important to talk about why we're allowed to have these interactions and these amazing experiences that not many people get to have.
No, I would say they're miraculous.
Yes.
And before I get into that, and I know Oracle Marine has been on the show, but for the people who are just listening for the first time, Oracle Marine, I would say, is the highest level. She's a master channeler for the Ascended Masters and for God. And when we say master channeler, that means that she can have direct messages, right? Where they actually merge in her and she can say long, detailed, accurate messages directly from them. So that's why, we're so devoted. You and I are so devoted to her because the access that she has and the high ethics and all that Oracle Marine has taught us are directly from them.
Yeah, and it's not like I want to I think this is important to mention too. It's not like Ciara and I are drinking the Kool-Aid. It's not that. It's we've had our own experiences, which we'll get into, that validate who Oracle Marine is, that validate her position with God and the Ascended Masters, and that back up the messages that she's delivered on their behalf. You can also go back to the two episodes where Oracle Marine was a guest, and she channels, in one episode, she channels Mother Mary, and another episode, she channels Buddha. So I would encourage anyone listening to go back and listen to those if you haven't yet. They're deeply enlightening episodes with a lot of really great information. Um, I just think it's important. It's not like there's no Kool-Aid to drink as far as like following Oracle Marine and her work and being devoted to the Ascended Masters and devoted to God. It's not that at all. I think some people kind of look at me that way or view me that way. I don't know if you feel that too, Ciara. Um, but there's a reason behind it. It's everything I just mentioned. It's the validation that we've received directly from God and the Ascended Masters to back up everything, to back up the claims, back up everything that Oracle Marine talks about on her website. More will be revealed at some point. Um, so this is far beyond like, oh, June and Ciara are drinking the Kool-Aid. It's not that.
I don't feel like it's like that because it's the truth.
Yeah.
It just is the truth, like it's the flat truth. And luckily, I've been blessed, and I know with you too, we've been blessed with the insight to know that she is who she is.
Yeah, 100%.
And not, oh, and not everybody can grasp it.
everyone's on their own journey. Everyone's
Yeah.
at their own level, at their own journey. There's no judgment from us in that at all. We share this because our goal, one of our many goals in our spiritual work is to help enlighten people, is to help bring this information forward. Is one goal I've had for a very long time is to help introduce people to Oracle Marine, to help people know who she is who she is, why is she able to do everything that she's doing and channeling the messages that she channels. And it's not just she's able to do it, she's dedicated her life so that she can do it. So it's so important. But yeah, not everyone's going to absorb it, not everyone's going to believe. That's, their journey and we don't judge that. It is what it is.
Yeah, you just have to have a certain level of enlightenment and belief, and not everybody is there yet. I know that's our goal as souls, is to be more enlightened and to constantly learn and grow and expand and be able to receive more. But yeah, not everybody can do it just yet.
Yeah. And that's okay. It's a journey listening to our podcast and sticking with us and listening to every episode with an open mind. That's one great way to begin, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so should we get into our experiences with the Ascended Masters? Or do you want to talk more about why us? Why are
Oh,
we allowed?
why don't you go first with the YS?
Okay,
Yeah.
so, and this is not to say that it's just me and Ciara and Oracle Marine on the entire planet that gets to have these miraculous experiences. It is not that. We're not saying that at all. We're not saying we're like the only three people. That's not it. My reasoning on why do I get to have these amazing experiences? I have to be
Oh wait,
really
you know what?
vet.
Let me cut you off just a second. Well, what do you mean by amazing experiences?
What do you mean? What do I mean?
So when somebody's listening to this and they say amazing experiences, I know for somebody who's never had any type of spiritual visit or vision, so maybe you could just explain a little bit, like maybe give an example of what an experience would be to connect with them or get a message from them.
Yeah, yeah. I'll get to that, I promise.
Okay.
Yep. So, I have to be really vague right now and why I get to have these experiences because there are things that I've learned about my soul's creation and past lives that I am not yet allowed to share publicly. When God wills it, I will share it. Part of it is I have to work on my bravery level because sharing it is can be nerve-wracking. You're really putting yourself out there when you share something so intimate and in my case, something unique. So I have to be vague. I just ask that you trust that I'm not making it up. More is to come. I'm hoping that I guess you could call it rip off the Band-Aid this year. I'm waiting. I'm waiting patiently. When God wills it, I will share more. As far as experiences that I've had, to Ciara's point, a lot of my experiences I've posted to my website and go out in my newsletter. Um, I've had I've had experiences and visions of Jesus. I started seeing Jesus. I first saw him, gosh, as far back as I can remember, I was probably about 4 years old, and seeing him with my physical eyes. And next, I recall seeing him when I was in middle school, around age 12, 13. I would see him with my physical eyes at home and with me at school. Um, not quite understanding at the time what it all meant and why it was happening. Um, since my spiritual awakening, which first really pushed in 2022, he started to come visit me more to the level of where I could see him. Um, and even validating things from him to me, such as, and it's on my blog, he confirmed his presence to me in the Eucharist, which I had been asking for many, many months if I would be allowed to have some sort of confirmation, not because I didn't believe, but because I just was curious if I would be allowed that con confirmation. And I was. And so that's on my blog. Another example I have as far as experiences is with Mother Mary. I see her often when I pray the rosary by myself. Uh, she's also on my blog. She wants us to pray her rosary. You can read about that in my experience with her. She was at the Annunciation Catholic School shooting in Minneapolis last year. She validated that. That is on my blog. You can read about that. When I say validate, it's vision of her being there, and I talk about that and what the message is that she has that I deliver on for her on her behalf. Um, Goddess of Mercy and Compassion, Kuan Yin, she came to me in a vision a few years ago now, and I didn't know it. What's cool about some of these experiences that I've had is they'll use words or bring up events that I don't know about, and I have to Google it and like kind of connect the dots. And so Kuan Yin did that. She came to me one August. I think it was August of 2023. And she was talking about Day of Compassion, which I didn't know existed, but it does, and it's in November. And her birthday is in November. And so without getting into all the detail, it's on my blog. You can read about it. Kuan Yin confirms Day of Compassion. She is the goddess of mercy and compassion. And with that, she also asked me to explain to people, help people understand who she is and why she did not, she had two incarnations. She achieved nirvana like Buddha has, but she committed to God that she would not enter nirvana until every soul is in heaven. I mean, what a commitment that is. And I think it shows the level of how much she loves us and how much she loves God and his children to to not allow herself to enjoy something that she had attained for our sake. So you can read about that on my blog. Lord Buddha came to me a few times. One I share on my blog. I remember I saw the vision, which is basically like his statue of his face, which is what I had seen. And I remember asking telepathically, "Who are you?" It was like, I think I know who this is. I know who this looks like, but who are you? Because I wanted confirmation. And he said Buddha moniker. I didn't know what moniker meant. And I was like, okay, I'm going to look up that later. And so he continued with his message, and he was talking about the Day of Miracles. I didn't know that was a thing until I did research, and I was able to get solid confirmation about what he was telling me that I had no idea of. So, and Buddha moniker meaning, oh my gosh, I can't remember what his names were when he was here in his incarnations. I know it's documented, you can find it. But we know him as Buddha, which is his moniker. And so I learned a new word that day. I learned about the Day of Miracles. It's really, really cool. And I've also had, we're talking about God too with all of this. I've had experiences with God directly, and I share some of them on my blog. One of which he confirmed and asked me to deliver that God's vibration is in each of us, whether you believe it or not, whether you feel it or not. It's in all of us. We all come from him. He has created every person's soul, every animal's soul. And I share that on my website. So um, I know it's kind of a lot, and it's been a lot for me to take in and to, um, what's the word? Not come to terms with, but accept that I'm allowed these miraculous experiences and deeply honored and grateful that they trust me with their messages. I'm hoping I can be allowed to expand on why I'm allowed these experiences and I'm allowed to share them. I just can't do that yet until God tells me to. I don't want to get in trouble. So um I hope that answers that for people.
I think you did a pretty good job without divulging your, I don't know if it's called a secret or to be announced.
Yeah.
It'll be exciting when you're able to kind of delve more into the reason behind it. I look forward to it. Um, for me, I feel like I could divulge. I feel like it's been part of my journey of my connection to Oracle Marine. Of course, I've been a student of hers for almost 8 years now, but it is by no coincidence that I ended up finding her in my area. I live by her and I'm able to attend her classes. And I've mentioned this before in a previous podcast, is how I have a soul connection with her in a past life. I just did another past life regression where I went so much deeper into my previous past lives. And I did share a life with Jesus and his wife, Mary Bethany, and Mary Magdalene, and the other disciples and apostles that had followed him. So that's kind of where my connection to them goes, is that I was a female Israelite and followed them. So that soul connection of that from them has come forward into this life now, where I'm able to have a stronger connection with him, to be able to work for him and the ascended masters, and to get visions similar to yours. Of course, not the same, because my journey is different. And as I mentioned on my path here, is that I work as a hospice chaplain, and that was a very big deal for Jesus to be able to become a chaplain, to pray for people at bedside, to offer the Eucharist for those who are sick, because the Eucharist is incredibly important, like so much more valuable and important to Jesus than I had any idea being raised
It's
Catholic.
huge.
It's
Yep.
huge. It is really huge. So to be able to service people in that way, to give communion, to pray, I will get visions of Jesus at bedside. I will get visions from him about the afterlife, which we will talk more in the next episode about preparing for the afterlife. I do get visits with Mother Mary, just talking about devotion and loyalty and prayer. And then with Kuan Yin, I get a lot of her insight while I'm teaching. But not it just the ascended masters come visit me, but I do get sometimes the archangels. Like Archangel Michael comes in quite a bit. Archangel Gabriel has come in. Um, Mary Magdalene has come in. She's a saint. So I did see that I will eventually have to put some of these on my website. So
Yeah.
I am a little nervous about it, but I just keep saying, I have to stand in the truth. These are the experience I have, whether or not people are going to accept it, believe it. I can only trust myself that I got the visions and the messages, and that I'm discerning it accurately, and that I am, it's word like putting it out there in an accurate way. So yeah, it can be very intimidating because a part of me is like, did I did I really experience that? Did I? But then
Yeah.
I can't cower about it.
No, and what I've learned is the more that you document and build your bravery up to share it publicly, the more you will be rewarded and the more you will receive more of those miraculous experiences. And you mentioned trusting yourself. It's not, yeah, it's trusting yourself, but it's also having the blind faith that Oracle Marine has talked about and teaches us, um, and trusting them. They're giving this message to me for a reason. I might not know what the reason is, but it is what it is. And I trust that. And it sounds so simple, yet it can be such a difficult thing to master, especially when I think, and from my experience, it is such a unique, um, I'll call it way of living. Um, you know, because you are putting yourself out there in such a unique way that is so unusual and is against the grain of the general public and what most people do. And yeah, it's scary, but it's so rewarding once you do it.
And I've noticed that in my journey, the more that I talked about Jesus, the more that I was truthful about working for them and the connection that I have. I felt my work reach a higher level. The work opportunities, social opportunities just started to open up because I was being honest and
Mhm.
truthful. And even my abilities were activated at a higher level because I was admitting what I was getting, because it does please them when we deliver their messages. And then if we don't, it does displease them and it disappoints them. And that's like I never want to do that.
Well, and think of it this way too. They're not giving us the message because they have nothing better to do. They're busy. They have better things to do than give me the message, but they're giving it to me or to you or to somebody who's qualified for a reason, for a purpose. And yeah, you just trust it.
And they don't have the time to sit there and convince us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you know how it's like when you have a friend who just is like feeling really low and you're trying to pop them up and convince them, like, no, you're making the right decision. Like, they don't have time for that. They're going to give us the message and then move on to the next. And they might give
Yeah.
it to us again and maybe again. But I've realized it's only about 3 times that I'll get it before I have to be, and I've been disciplined before and I've gotten in trouble before when I didn't deliver a message. And I never want to do that again. And I know I'm not going to be
No.
perfect, but
And I don't, yeah, and they know that too. I always tell myself they know me better than I know myself. They know my strengths, they know my weaknesses better than I realize. And they work with that.
yeah.
Um, and no, you don't want to be disciplined because that is negative. It's a negative experience. I talked about that in our last episode leading up to my very first fair. How I was disciplined with my back that was thrown out for 2 weeks and an illness that I had a week leading up to the fair. You don't want to be disciplined. It is miserable. Yeah.
Even the feeling of disappointment. If I could share a story where I was actually talking to a friend, this was about almost 2 years ago when I was activated to work for them. And I hadn't come out and say it yet, but I was listening to a friend who was complaining about a specific relationship. And all of a sudden, I felt Jesus come in on my right. And he showed me that if she believes in him, he'll break the chains. And and I saw him literally like breaking chains that she was under because she was really unhappy and just felt trapped and she felt chained basically. And he came in, he showed me that. Like if she prays to me and believes in me, I will help break her chains. And I didn't say anything to her because I was listening to her. Jesus had come in and I just kept listening and I didn't say anything. And he came in again and he showed me the image. And then he came in a third time, and I still didn't say anything because I was afraid of her reaction because she's a lukewarm believer, not really much into prayer. And it wasn't an actual reading. It was just me being a friend to her.
Yeah.
So the next day after this, I hung up with her, not saying anything. The next day, when I was driving to work and I was kind of in this meditative state, I actually felt Jesus. He came into the car and was in the passenger side seat, and he filled me with like disapproval and regret. And then he showed me the conversation, a vision in my head of how he gave me a message to deliver and I didn't deliver it. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I felt his sadness and his disappointment of like me not being able to have the confidence, to me not standing by his side. And so in the car, I said to him, okay, when I get to work, I will make a quick call and tell her what happened. And so I did. As soon as I got to work, it was before I started my shift. I called her up and I started crying because I was like, hey, we were on the phone yesterday. I didn't tell you this, but Jesus came in.
Did she believe you?
Yeah, she did. She started crying. Did
Oh,
she make the changes he suggested about praying to her, praying to him and coming to him? I don't know. Um, we're actually not in communication as much anymore, I think because of it, because she didn't turn to Jesus and she turned away. But that's a whole nother story. But afterwards, I felt his pleasure and his, like feeling of pride that I had the courage to do it at that moment and to kind of stand by him.
yes. And I want to specify when we talk about having the courage and the bravery, it is the reason we have to build that up and having the confidence is because number one, we want to please the ascended masters, we want to please God, but the flip side of that coin is judgment, ridicule, gossip, slander from the people here on earth, friends, family. I've had it from both. Acquaintances, maybe coworkers, whoever it is, that's where the bravery and the courage and confidence comes in. So I'm not surprised, Ciara, that you were on the phone with your friend and that happened and you weren't feeling brave enough. You'd mentioned feeling confident enough to deliver that message in that moment because, yes, we're worried about how our friends or whoever the person is going to not only receive the message because it's like you deliver it, you did your job, how they receive it is on them, but the blowback, the potential blowback that we face, I've had it. Um, so I wanted to make sure to mention that with regards to courage and bravery. It's we always want to please them. We're rewarded when we please them. We always feel good. We want to make them happy and do their will, do God's will. The fear comes in when we worried about what someone we care about will think about us.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it is a balance too, right? Because I feel like a lot of people have pushed away Christians or Christianity because they tend to evangelize. They tend to be judgmental because they do see right and wrong. And it puts people in a defensive position. And so when I'm in those types of situations where I need to stand by Jesus, I have to be gentle but firm, right? It's like you don't want to misrepresent Jesus, but you don't want to force it on people because I do believe faith and belief is a choice, but I have to stand by what I believe. And it's a balance, right?
It's absolutely a balance, and it's not only standing behind what you believe, but standing behind whatever messages they're giving us. It's their messages are always going to come from a place of love, truth. In some situations, yes, maybe really firm, even if the message is hard to hear. I've noticed that in my spiritual work where I'm delivering these messages either from a deceased loved one or from spirit guides, guardian angels, ascended masters, whoever it is. And I'm sure you've noticed it too in your spiritual work. The messages are always love, truth, and some like firm, gentle but firm messages that people just need to hear. It's never going to come from hate or ridicule or judgment, or it's not that at all. It's
No,
always
it is, it always comes from a place of love. Sometimes it is tough love for sure.
Mhm.
People tend to think of like God as like a wish maker, and that he's only here to have us have pleasure and joy and
or that he's here to please us.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's
No,
so not, that's
no.
the opposite.
Yeah, and I think that is where the like discrepancy is. It's like God really is, he's a strict father because he
Mhm.
has really high standards for his children. Like he does want us to always act in a state of unconditional love, always be truthful and honest, cause no harm. And it's simple to hear that, but to actually live that day in and day out, minute by
It's
minute,
hard.
it's hard. It is hard.
It's hard, but worth it when I've had days. Listen, when I got into an argument a few days ago with somebody that I deeply care about for very valid reasons. We were on two different sides of the topic. And I was, trying to figure out how to explain this without like revealing who the person is. Um, I was very passionate in my point of view, coming from a place of love, because I love this person, and coming from a place of concern and wanting to guide. And then a few days later, God woke me up in the middle of the night and he was guiding me on how to guide this person. And so I do need to tell this person that. I have not told this person that yet. Um I forget why I brought that up. What did you say before and went into that?
Um, Gosh, so many things. Oh,
Sorry.
oh no, no, it kind of about being brave, having the courage, but to do it in a gentle way.
Yeah, and this is that is was exactly that, because God was gently, for fortunately for me, guiding me to guide this person that I love. And so yeah, he's not around to like please us. You know, people, there's so much belief, in my view, there's so much belief around make your own heaven on earth, live your best life, do only what makes you happy. Um, you know, don't worry about others, only do you. I don't believe that at all. That's We're here to learn. Earth is difficult. It is meant to be difficult. We are here to please God. We are here to do his work, to do his will.
We are here to serve others.
Yes, very
Yeah.
much so.
So I get it because I understand why this kind of self-love comes out because we do need to have self-love, but I feel it's out of balance. Because you do need to have self-love to love others, right? But if you over-index on the self-love, the the self-absorbedness of it, then you become out of balance because the focus becomes about you, right? But it is really about we are on earth to serve others because we on the other side too, we serve each other. We are meant to live in a community. We are meant to help each other and be in relationships with each other and to always kind of make push people to do their best and to be our best.
Which is difficult, but it's difficult for a reason. I mean, I think going back to the bravery and courage that is needed to deliver their messages, it's difficult for a reason. It's not everyone is on this earth in this lifetime to do that. It's something I contracted, it's something you contracted. We promised God we would do this work, and so we're now fulfilling some of that promise, agreement, contract, whatever you want to call it. It's not easy. It's not meant to be easy,
No, it's
but
not.
it can get easier the more you practice, the more you put it into practicality. It can get easier if you're committed.
Yeah, I find that in my work, the more that I did it, the more that I stepped out and had confidence, the easier it gets. And I've released, for the most part, needing approval. Do I still like it from people? Of course. Who doesn't want to be like, everyone wants to be like, yeah, accepted and respected, and
That's human
um,
nature.
it is human nature. But in the end, what I really do it for is to please God.
Yeah. And it reminds me of an old quote that I don't know who first said it. I don't know where I had first seen it, but it came across in my life at least 20 years ago, if not longer. And it is, what is popular is not always right. What is right is not always popular. And it's something I've carried with me. And I have tried to be mindful in applying it to every aspect of my life. And my spiritual work is no exception to that.
Yeah, yeah. When I think about the popular views that we have now here on earth, a lot of it does not align with what God wants and what pleases God.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of, there's been some messages that I've had to deliver lately, political messages, and anyone listening, if you know which messages I'm talking about because you read them, I do not enjoy it, but I do it because it's a mission. It is an assignment that I am given, and I don't ever want to let God and Jesus down, so I deliver. Um, I know some of the messages are unpopular. I don't decide the messages; they come through, and I deliver. So it's kind of like don't shoot the messenger. um, but yeah, people get upset. It's not always going to be about, lollipops and rabbits. It's some of it's hard, unpopular stuff, but it's necessary. Oracle Marine delivers even stronger messages at a higher level, even more frequently. And I know that it's miserable for her too.
Yeah, because you get backlash.
Yeah, that's why I say it can be miserable because it's the backlash. It's and whatever. I don't want to
Yeah.
complain about it, but yeah,
No,
there's
but it is
backlash.
hard. The truth, I haven't been getting political messages, which I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, really, the things that I have to talk about with people in my work is the fact that there is karma and that there is an afterlife and that you do have to pray and prepare, and so many people don't want to accept that. That's the work that I have to do, is kind of go out there in a gentle way, tell people that no, you do have to have a belief in God. It is best to
Yeah.
embrace Jesus before you pass over. And those people, there's just so many that can't even accept the fact that we do have an afterlife.
And we pray for those people.
Yeah. Part of my, I've been asked to do the rosary 3 to 4 times a week. And every time I do, I have to pray for the souls.
I have an ongoing list of who I dedicate my rosary prayers to. Because when you hear me talk about praying the rosary, I'm not praying it for my own benefit, for myself to ask for things for me. It's praying for others, whether it's people who are being repressed by their government or souls in purgatory, souls in hell, I pray for. Um, animals that are being abused. I mean, there's so many awful things happening that are worthy of our prayers. So yeah, the rosary is a beautiful, beautiful prayer. I'm so glad I learned it.
Me too. And I don't know if we mentioned this before. When you do pray the rosary, you pray to God, Jesus, and Mother Mary. That's why it's so powerful. And then holding a rosary is a way to physically have contact with them. Because they can't be physically here, they have gifted us with the rosary to be able to make physical contact with them.
I enjoy it. I always feel really good after. I always feel when I'm doing it, and obviously like doing it with pure intent, not doing it because it's like a chore or I have to. or whatever, doing it because you truly want to, it feels so good.
Yeah, when I first started doing the rosary on a regular basis, maybe about 5 years ago, and even after a few couple months of doing it consistently, I just noticed such a shift in myself spiritually. I felt lighter. I felt just more gifted with wisdom. I felt more peace. And that's also when I got stronger visits from them
Yeah, I
as well.
agree.
Like it does open the door because you are showing devotion. You are showing loyalty. You're praying the prayers that they want you to pray.
So I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Does a person have to be Catholic to pray the rosary?
No, absolutely not. You don't have to. This is what I think. If people who were are not religious at all, if they started praying the rosary because they felt compelled to and did it with pure intent, they would want to eventually convert. They would eventually want to because you will just be blessed with feeling better, knowing that they're with you. But no, by no means do you have to be Catholic.
That's what I'm trying to encourage people about when I advertise my rosary prayer group that I recently started with your help. Is if you've never done it before, that's okay. Hop on with us. We have this great deck that we use that walks us through it. If you don't have rosary beads, I think that's okay, right? You don't have to have the beads, right?
You
Or do
don't
you?
have to. It is more powerful if you do. But
Yeah,
there have been times where I've prayed it because I didn't have the physical rosary. But I do know it is more powerful because of the things I said. It is a physical act of
yeah,
devotion. But
right. And
no,
that makes sense. So it's
yeah,
not like a person's going to get in trouble
no,
if they, yeah, if they pray the rosary without the beads. It's not that.
no. I mean, if somebody hopped onto your rosary prayer group, which I highly recommend, they could just pop on and listen. And even being in the presence of it being said, you will be blessed in some way. So no,
Yeah,
you don't have to. And I just think people should do it
I
because of all
enjoy
the
it.
benefits. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really do.
And I didn't enjoy it at first because it's long
Hmm.
and it is hard. It does feel kind of awkward when you're not used to Catholic prayers. But believe me, that awkwardness and kind of discomfort goes away so quickly.
I believe that's true. And it's a lot to memorize. Don't feel I have it memorized because I've done it so much, but don't feel like you have to memorize it. Like with the Rosary Prayer Group I have, like I said, we have a great presentation. It lays it all out there. I started, so let's share how we first started praying the Rosary. I started after I was baptized and confirmed Catholic. And I started with the Hallow app. So Jonathan Rumi, who I love, and he plays Jesus in The Chosen, he's like my favorite. Um, in the Hallow app, that it was, I'm assuming it's still free. It was when I was doing it. I would do it, I'd have the beads. I'm at my altar, I have my prayer candle lit. I have the beads and I would just listen and I would just follow along. And I kept doing it and doing it and doing it that way, just listening and like repeating it in my head. And then I got eventually to a point where I would listen, but then I would also say it with Jonathan Rumi. So that's how I would. I'm self-taught, except he helped me. Um, so if I ever meet him, I'm gonna let him know that.
No, and you know what's funny? If you did, he probably would love to hear that because I know part of his mission in life is to talk about Jesus, right? I can't remember if he converted to Catholicism or if he was raised Catholic, but I know he is now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
follow him on Instagram. He's very, very much a devoted Catholic. So my point is there's so many different ways to learn how to do it. That's just how I learned. And that's why I was able to memorize it because I had listened to it. I mean, I listened to it for at least once a week for months before I felt confident enough to say it with him, out say it out loud with him. So for me, there was some confidence that I had to build with it because I didn't want to like mess it up and upset Mary. I mean, she's so graceful. I doubt me messing it up would upset her, but we don't want to upset them.
Yeah, I started similar because
Okay.
5 years ago while I was in Oracle Marine's class, she'd mentioned do the rosary. I felt really intimidated. So I did. I downloaded an app. I can't remember what it was. It was some type of rosary app where at first I didn't actually do it with the beads. I just listened. And then when I was walking my dog, I would actually do the rosary while walking my dog. So I would actually hold it and listen and do the beads. And then, yeah, it kind of happened like that. Then I just eventually started memorizing it. And then I realized, the Ascended Master should showed me the importance of doing it on your knees, doing it in prayer hands, so that it becomes even more magnified. So now I do it in a much more, I don't know about official way, like
Hmm.
much more formal way than I used to. But
So
people
tell
don't have,
people, sorry, go ahead.
oh no, no, what were you going to say?
Explain to people why it's important to do the rosary with the prayer hands or on your knees or both.
Yeah. So the prayer position, which you guys have seen, I'm sure before, is where you're on your knees and you have your hands together in prayer hands and your elbows are up. That is a sacrifice, a visual act of a physical act of devotion. And because it is uncomfortable, we are basically making the sacrifice of our comfort to have our prayers be elevated and for God to listen to them at an even stronger level. So if you can do it on your knees, and for me, I have a pillow under my knees. And then I'm also, when I'm in prayer position, because it's hard for me to hold it for a long time, I'll kind of lean on my altar. Um, but to hold it in that position while you're praying, and this can be with any prayer, it doesn't have to be with just the rosary. It does amplify it because you are making a sacrifice of your comfort, and God will listen to that, listen to your prayer at a stronger level.
And when you have the prayer hands with your elbows up, that is very uncomfortable, especially if you're holding it for several minutes. It's okay to drop your elbows if you need to, and then put them back up again when you feel ready. Try to always keep your prayer hand position and, alternate your elbows however you need
Yeah,
to.
I cannot hold my elbows up in the exact form that they want because it is really hard. Even after all this
Yeah.
time, like I get really tired. But it is better if you are holding the elbows up. It's just, yeah. So work up to it. This is what I always tell people, just work up to it. Like just
Yeah.
start praying the rosary while you're sitting on the couch. If you're not even doing it at all, right? It's like you can get to these higher levels of showing your devotion and sacrifice, but start small and an attainable goal.
They see the devotion, they see every level of devotion, whether you're doing it on the couch or you're on your knees with your prayer hands for the full 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
If it's the rosary, they see the devotion at every level and they see the commitment and they see you pushing yourself. If you're pushing yourself to eventually have it memorized or eventually do it on your knees or eventually hold your elbows up for the full prayer, they see
Yeah.
that determination and the commitment and you pushing yourself.
Yeah, and so I didn't know this about the rosary too. I had learned it where you just do one mystery at a time, which the rosary is about 20 to 25 minutes if you do one mystery at a time, which is okay. But the full rosary is actually to do all the mysteries. So that can take up to an hour.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either until I kind of looked further into the rosary. And then I was talking to Oracle Marine and she was like, oh, the full rosary? And I was like, wait, what do you mean by the full rosary? That's all the mysteries done. And sometimes I'll do that on my hands, on my knees in prayer hands. And it does take a full hour. And I know you're blessed even more. But for most of the time, I do the 20-minute, which means one round of mysteries because we do live busy lives and I'd rather do the 20 minutes and then instead of setting myself up to do the hour and not do it because I don't have the time.
So to do the full 1 hour, is it doing the rosary, the 5 decades with the mysteries, and then basically starting over from the beginning and doing another 5 decades with the
Yes,
mysteries.
exactly. You do
Okay,
each round, total round of the mysteries. So you would start because it's four sets of mysteries. And so you would do each set.
got it. Oh, I
Yeah.
haven't done that. I might need to challenge myself.
Yeah, I don't do it that often. I try to do it at least once a month where I do the full rosary in an hour and on my hands and
Yeah.
or on my knees with prayer hands. It's definitely a challenge. Do I sometimes have to sit regular and then pop back up again? Absolutely. So, but I know I've been blessed because I've done the full hour.
Oh, I'll have to try that.
Yeah, try it. Try it.
Yeah.
If you can only do the 20 minutes, like don't feel bad because sometimes that's all I can do. I know that that's something. And it means a lot to them.
Oh, it's definitely something. Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely counts. It matters. It's important for
Yeah.
sure.
Even if you just said that Our Father once a day, from nothing to saying it, there will be massive changes in your life because of it.
I sometimes will fall asleep with I'll start with the Apostles' Creed and then the Our Father, and then I'll just go into the Hail Marys until I fall asleep.
Yeah,
Just
because it's very relaxing and meditative.
mm, yeah.
Yeah. And it's a nice way to put yourself in that zone before you fall asleep. I'm sure it's done so much for your soul.
Well, and I'll even do it. I guess now that I really think of it, the main reason I'll sometimes do it when I'm falling asleep is if I feel a little disconnected or if I feel like I had a very earthly day and I feel just kind of a little disjointed, a little off. I find that that helps me um, relax and ground and, like you said, meditative state, good for the soul. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a nice way to like reconnect with God, right? After you've spent this whole day disconnected, it's a nice way to like realign. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think any way you do it, the fact that you're even making an attempt to do it,
They
it
see it.
yeah, they see exactly. They see the effort.
Yeah. So what else about the Ascended Masters haven't we touched on today? I know that it's hard to kind of, I feel, wrap them up into like one episode. Um, but I want to make sure that we're touching on all the main points about them. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
The one thing I just had in my head is since we're talking about prayer, so we pray to the ascended masters to show our loyalty and devotion, but we worship God. So people always ask, like, who exactly do I pray to? And I go, well, think about it this way. It's like if you're just going to say one prayer, yes, you can go straight to God. Jesus is the second closest being to God. So you can pray to both, right? But then the ascended masters, you also pray to because they intercede, like you had mentioned before when we pray the Mother Mary, they intercede. So it's not like we're worshiping them in the same that we do God, but we love and adore them
Absolutely. Yeah.
because they do help us. So you can pray to all of them, and when you do, they will intercede.
And they can give blessings. I mean, obviously, God gives blessings all the time, and the top four ascended masters can also with God's permission. So yeah, that's what Sierra means by intercede.
Mhm.
Sometimes they intercede to the point where you receive a blessing. Sometimes they intercede and would you call their intercession a blessing? I suppose it is on some level.
It is, but it is because of God has given the permission. But basically, this is what I've seen. They pray for us. And so prayer is an act of kind of like a request, right? And so they can ask for God, ask for help to God on our behalf. And that's what we mean by intercession is they will help on behalf of us and bring it to God.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah.
All right, my dear. Well, I hope our topic and our discussion today pleases the Ascended Masters. I know that they're listening. So, for anyone listening, as I mentioned, if you're unfamiliar with Oracle Marine, go back. She's on two previous episodes, and I'll throw in a little teaser. She's coming up again. So she'll be on for another conversation in the future. That's all I think we should share at this point. But we're preparing for it and we're excited for it. So if you're interested in reading what I had shared earlier regarding my experiences with Jesus, Kuan Yin, Mother Mary, and Buddha, go to junehessler.com. It's all right there. You can sign up for my newsletter if you desire. Um, it's all really good, important information that they share through their qualified messengers. And just to like reconfirm, we're not saying it's only me and Ciara and Oracle Marine on the planet, because it's not. There's many other qualified messengers. Use your discernment when you check them out. All right, Ciara. Well, everyone, thank you for listening to the Midwest Medium Podcast, Two Mediums in a Pod series. We very much enjoy bringing you each and every episode. If you could please rate and review the podcast, that would help us out so much. Thank you so much for listening. I'm June Hessler.
I'm Ciara Titus, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.